Hey there, and welcome to a quick tutorial on the Liquify tool in Photoshop. So if you are in my class, you've got Lightroom open and you should pick a photo where you have a zoomed in picture of a person's face, kind of like this absolutely terrible photo of me. Okay, so what we've got is this, and we're going to go Command E. Command E edits, sends it to Photoshop for editing. You might get this window, you might not. Select edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments and say edit, and then it throws it to Photoshop. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to do so. And when it does, it opens up in Photoshop. There we go. I'm in. And the first thing that you want to do, is to duplicate your background. I like to change the name background. I double click on background and I call it original. Okay. Now the reason why it gave me that little window there was because it was locked. And so if you don't, sometimes you open up a picture and it's not locked. I won't get into why that is. And you just get this right here. So don't worry, just type the name and hit return or click outside. All right. So now what I want you to do is I want you to make sure you're clicked on the original layer and go Command J to make a copy. Then double click exactly on the text for original copy and change this to Face Liquify. Face Liquify, and you spell it like that. Face Liquify. Okay, good. Now go to Filter and Liquify. That's this guy right here. Awesome. Now, see, right at the moment, my brush is huge. It's a really large brush. We don't necessarily want that in the future. You may actually not have any of these things here on the side. So, I want you to open up the brush options. You can change the size of your brush. See, I did that along with that. Or you can use the good old square brackets. Right square bracket brings it up. Left square bracket brings it down. I want you to open the Face Aware Liquify, and if you have these guys open or close, if you have them closed, I want you to open them up so you can see all of these things. This is pretty darn simple. If you want the left eye to get larger, you just slide it over there, or maybe you want it to get smaller. See, look at that. See, it's going back and forth. All right, I'm going to put that large. If you want to change the eye height, do that. There you go. Now I'm looking super surprised and slightly nocturnal too. So you can change the width. Make it really big. I'm starting to look like a bit of an anime person. You can change the tilt of the eye. Look at that. If you hit the letter Z, it hits the zoom tool and you can zoom on in. It's kind of a scrubby zoom. Command 0. Let me just click once. There we go. All right, click 3 times. There we go. If you want to move around, hold down the space bar. Gives you the hand tool and you're moving around here. Of course, you can select the hand tool and the zoom tool here, but really get used to using those keyboard shortcuts. All right, so check out the eye tilt. You can see right here. May as well tilt the eye inwards. Awesome. I look terrible. Let's change my nose height. I smell something bad. Okay, there it is. Nose width. Look at that. Oh, let's go the opposite way. Let's make me narrow. A little nose job. Let's give me a smile. It didn't exactly go all the way, but there you go. It's a little bit more. And the upper lip. Change all of these guys. Woohoo! Awesome. All right. That looks horrid. Okay, you can change the face shape. Awesome. Play around with it. See what you want to do. I'm going to just make my chin high there. And decrease. Yeah, actually, that's a little bit more of a strong jawline. Well, okay. And face width. Okay. Super narrow head. Awesome. Don't bother going into any of these things right at the moment. We're just going to say, okay, that is terrible. If you want to see before and after, turn this off and you can see what happened. Just that. It wasn't terribly good to begin with, even worse now. Awesome. That's the face liquify tool, but we can also liquify a whole bunch of other things. All right, so we are going to actually go back to the original. So I want you to click on the original, and we're going to work off of the original layer. Command J grabs the original copy. I want you to drag it up to the top. So now, see, we have the original copy, and change this to manual liquify. Manual liquify. And that's how to spell it right there. Awesome. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the manual method for liquify. Watch out. We're going to go to filter. Now you will notice two liquifies. There is this very first one. Don't use that. You do want to go to the second one, but just take a look. This liquify is basically saying it will apply to the picture everything that you did in the last on the last time you picked liquify. So if I pick it now, you'll see what it does automatically. It doesn't go to the Liquify tool, it just automatically does the same thing to it. Well, I don't want that, so I'm going to open my history and I'm going to back up there. Good. I'm going to close my history. And I'm going to go to filter and I'm going to say this liquify right here, which takes me back to the liquify window and this tool. Now, pretty much like this is so fun. You have all of these tools down the side. I'm really going to just show you two. And the first one is the forward warp tool, which is the letter W. And my brush is really big. I'm going to use the left square bracket to make it a little smaller. Okay, and I'm just going to show you basically what this thing does is it lets you take the pixels and push them over. You can move pixels around wherever you want. So you want to make it really like a tumor or right here, okay? Or maybe you might actually want to, if you make this larger, kind of smooth things out a bit, okay? Now, Photoshop is not generally done for making a person look terrible. As a matter of fact, what it usually is done for is taking little imperfections and adding in different things. So, for instance, if you wanted to make this, grab this little bit, kind of got a little bit of chunky fat under here, you can kind of push in little bits and maybe make it a little larger so that way it's pushing along there. It's so that way, and then you'll notice I keep a little bit of muscle underneath there. This is how models get to, on magazine covers, get to have hips that are fabulous and stomachs that are flat and everything like that. Now, you may say to yourself, okay, fine, but that looks terrible. And so how do I get that back to the way I want? Well, it's this second tool right here, the reconstruction tool, which is the letter R. If you grab the reconstruction tool and basically wherever you paint, I'm going to make this bigger with the right square bracket, and it just puts it back wherever you paint. It puts it back, and there it is. So also in here, maybe I'm going to bring this on back. Awesome, there it is. Bring it all back. Bring it all back. Sometimes, actually, I just grab a great big brush, paint it on the whole thing. There it is. Super. And also the face. Let's do the face too. Just go back and forth. Good. If you want to change the pressure and the density, you'll notice it happens a whole lot faster. Sometimes you don't want that though. Like if you're trying over here, when we were trying to get it a little precise, a little bit more muscle and a little less fat and that kind of thing, you probably don't want as much pressure and density. You want less because you're just kind of easing it in a little bit. All right. So there are lots of tools. The smoothing tool, pretty obvious how it smooths different things. So it's kind of like the reconstruction tool a bit. Okay. Twirl. That is pretty darn cool. Yep, there it is. Pucker makes things smaller. And bloat does the opposite. Let me make this bigger. I'll click and there. Awesome. So you can totally bloat the person or bloat objects. There it is. You can grab that and drag it off to the side. Super. Like I said, the majority of the time it's actually used to do things like give the eyes a slight little punch up and other and different things. Hair, you can extend out and give the hair a little bit more volume. It tends to be used for positive things, but this is fun. All right, what do we got here? This guy is the push left. That's pretty obvious. Freeze tool, you add in the part that you don't want to have stuff happen to it. And then wherever you push, you'll see that didn't happen. It didn't get pushed, didn't get moved around. The stuff that's frozen stays. Okay? And then there's the thawing mask, which is the opposite, of course, of freeze. The face tool will go in and find the different parts of the face, and you can adjust as you wish, just like you did in the original face tool. So you want to change the smile. It's not working terribly well, but you can also see that it makes adjustments over here on the side as well. So just play around with it as you like. And once you got it the way that you like, just hit OK. And wow, there's the manual Liquify. And that was my face Liquify. There's the original. So before, after. Excellent. Okay. So when you are done with this picture in Photoshop doing Liquify, Command S to save. Oh, what did I do? See, I saved it without that visibility in there. I'm going to turn that on and Command S again so it saves with the visibility on. And that way, when I close this in Photoshop and go back to Lightroom, I've got this warp tool in there. Keep in mind that Lightroom always saves your original right there. Great. So now you've learned a whole bunch of things in Photoshop. You've learned the basic tools. You've learned sky replacement. You've learned Liquify. I just want you to go and have some fun and play around with a whole bunch of your pictures and enjoy messing around with it. You can make them look silly or you can make them look beautiful. It's your choice. Go for it. Have some fun.